You are now listening to the Perceptive Readers Podcast.
It is what it is. I want to add another thought with that. You know there are a variety of likes, dislikes, abilities, talents that people have, and it's all wrapped up too in their conscience on the way that they will actually exercise all these rights, dislikes, and talents, you see, by themselves and with others. And see, I want to emphasize that word conscience, okay? Hi, I'm James, and welcome to this Telegram app, Perceptive Readers, a moment that I'm sharing with you. To start off this podcast, you heard me talking about our talents and also our conscience. And along with that, now I want to say communication, 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 communication. Now, why do you think I emphasized it over 4 times? I could emphasize it even more, double that, because the simple fact is, since we have been given all of these wonderful qualities as being creation, you see, creation made in the image of who? Yes, the grand one, the true God himself. Yes, this is a Sunday thought. Then it goes to show that everyone is not going to readily or quickly understand where we're coming from. But that doesn't mean there has to be a big argument, a difficulty, or anything of that nature. It's just that it is what it is, where it will require some form of communication, direct communication, not just indirect communication to actually, get your point across. And remember, since people say, hey, we're all part of the human family, then it's really, should there be anything wrong with the communication that we have with one another? You see, no higher up class, no lower class, but regardless of how much we may, possess with our monetary funds and currency and things of that nature, everyone should be able to get a response or, a conversation with anyone just in passing. Now, of course, and I want to say this because I know somebody was emphasizing about the level that we are on today. And every time I hear about, the level, oh my goodness, it makes me actually want to talk about a variety of subjects, from the way the earth is, the way people view one another, not just in a physical way, but because of science and other types of arts, if you will, viewing people totally on an energy level. And I just want to talk about that on the energy level, because even though there are people who have that type of ability and they use it, I'm just stating, sometimes persons have to sit back and really meditate on, was this really for our good to view persons on such a level that it literally has taken away the process of what communication, 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 communication was supposed to be. You see, sometimes a person can even get a bad rep, if you will, not because of necessarily anything that they have done to this new person that they, just ran into, but literally because of the way that the persons are viewing them in other types of processes and surveillance without going through the communication, the communication, the communication. And this is important because, remember, since we're all different and people come from different backgrounds and culture, what you may be viewing as this person's energy or motive or what have you may be completely susceptible, even ethically, in the cultural background that they came from. And yet, because you have a different experience in life and the way that you viewing that person's aura, if you will. And I'm not really trying to talk, spiritually, but hey, again, with this consciousness that we have, remember, it's linked with our spirituality. Then what happens? You see, uh, it requires the process of communication, does it not? It's doing a disservice to actually even take a person at surface value of what their energy or mode or mood may be that day. That's what I'm going to use the term to say, hey, that person, it's a complete turn off. It's whatever. Well, if that's the case, then it may require some time to heal that person. And it is up to each individual's conscience and talents and love in their heart on how much time they may spend, you see, with such an individual. Because, some persons may feel, oh, I'm giving up today on this friendship or that friendship. And you know what? That is, again, their choice. Isn't it wonderful as we talk about the different choices in our conscience that we understand each creation that is made by the grand creator himself, where has certain rights. See, we have the right to have private prayer and, yes, ownership of our own conversation directly with the grand one himself. So if the universe, which is created by the grand creator God himself, who owns everything, he says he owns everything, when he bestows a gift upon man and womankind, as far as you can have this, I have set aside this lot of land for you. Yes, God has actually done it. He showed that with what he did in the nation of Israel, you see? So with that lot of land, God was so, once again, he's perfect. He was so set on persons never losing what was given to them as ownership, at least to no other human, you see. He even made provisions in the law that said, hey, every so many years, then, you see, in order for you not to be in perpetuity where your land and everything is just gone forever, you stay poor forever, hey, you have to be set free every 7 or so years of these debts and that debt. Hey, there's a jubilee year, every 50 years of this and that. And what was so interesting is that some persons, because they were treated so good, so with dignity, even as slaves, they were like, I love my master. I love my master. See, and was happy to say, even master, you see. Why were they so happy? That was, as some of you know, and I heard one very highly intelligent, smart woman mention about this too, is that these persons experience the positive side of what ownership really is. Uh, you can have a gift of ownership and possession of something that was given to you willingly and things of that nature. And you can treat it once again so well that the person is proud to be, a part, proud to do, motivated by love, compelled to do certain things. And see, that's the way we're actually supposed to develop our relationship with God. You will see again, this is why the conscience is so important. There are many persons that at one time there were certain things they would have done, whether it was financial, business wise, or what have you. But then, as they saw the way that God dealt with people in times past and other effects on their life, they would no longer do certain things, you see. And now, some persons who are puzzled or may have been puzzled may say, why not this way or that way? Is a person scared? And the scaredness has nothing to do with it. The pleasing of man or another woman has nothing to do with it. It literally has to be now the way God is moving their heart and conscience to do certain things, you see. And it's very nice that we do have that ability to develop our relationship in this way. And so, yes, as many of you have come to the conclusion, everything that's given us is a gift. It's a gift from God. And when we have this, a gift, and remember, He is the one that even gave us the gift of ownership of land, of property, of slave girls and slave men and things of that nature. And this is I'm not talking about slavery, but the whole point is I'm just mentioning things from the Hebrew scriptures that goes to show the reason why human society is set up the way that it is today is there have been very bright persons, spiritual minded persons that actually looked at what God was saying from His law itself. You see? His law itself. And then they made a system putting some of the things, at least what they like, into society that was based on universal principles. So with that just being said in all, we have the options to do a variety of things. We can dedicate our lives to a variety of things. As God is the utmost importance. Just always keep in mind that as humans, we imitate. What finer way to imitate a perfect source that really does know it all, who created the universe itself? See, since we're talking about levels, some people will acknowledge the universe like on even a metaphysical level. And I just want to point to once again, if you want to acknowledge it in that energy level, in that metaphysical level, what have you, the true source that that created it is the true God Himself who created it, you see. And we try to go directly to the source in that matter. And remember, there are documents and articles today that people write, and some that have come from centuries past, a couple of hundred years ago, you see. And one of them I think about is the Constitution of the North American, or the United States as it called, that was created. And the purpose, the principal reason why it was created, we're not getting into the abuse or the harsh treatment, the taxation, or anything that was coming from what some people say a tyrannical ruler. However, we're talking about principally, it was made to let people know, as they discuss, what are the rights to that God was giving His creation, you see. And then they were saying, well, whatever type of government we put in place, we want to make sure that the government still protects those rights of ours, of the people, and not in a tyranny way try to take it away from us. Try to, once again, taxation without representation, taking our lots of land, etc., our livelihood. Because in closing, there are actually examples in the Bible where God made sure, and it represented in an expounded way, where God was basically saying, don't you take the clothing off somebody's back. Don't you take their hand meal or something which today will represent their livelihood. If that person even loaned it to you, you better give it back to them before the end of the day. See, so that goes to show from God Himself. He has given us authority and ownership of certain things, that gifts from Him, and let no other human or ruler attempt to take it away. Thank you for being here. You have a wonderful day.
You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.